Welcome, everyone, to the L7C podcast. And today we have a very special episode. We have a founder of the L7C and birthday boy, day of recording, Mr. Cedric Ware. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing well. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. And since this is your first podcast of 2021, I hope you had a good holiday season. I hope you were able to relax somewhat and recharge and get ready for 2021.
Oh, absolutely. It was great. Cannot complain one bit.
That is what I like to hear. So today, we're going to be talking about some Naruto. And we're going to be talking about what got you into Naruto, who's your favorite character in Naruto, who's your least favorite character, what do you like about Naruto, and just questions about that. And then we're going to talk about what we're going to be doing with Naruto going forward on the L7C podcast. And for people who didn't listen to Cedric's introduction to anime, Naruto is considered the demographic as a shonen, and the original run from the manga was September 21st, 1999 to November 10th, 2014, and it was 72 volumes. And this Naruto is actually one of the things that really got me and Cedric into talking to each other, becoming really good friends, because the manga was coming out every Wednesday of Shippuden, and we would always text each other saying, "Hey, did you read the manga? What do you think is going to happen next?" So really helped. It was a good friend, but really added more foundation to our friendship. So Cedric, what got you into Naruto? Like, how did you find Naruto and how did you get into it?
So I found Naruto through watching Toonami. I want to say I tried to go back because I know I just randomly came upon it. At that time, it was Zatch Bell was on it, and Dragon Ball Z was on it. And I want to say it was one of those times where it was I got home, I was watching TV, and it's I'm waiting for the Dragon Ball Z episode. It's oh, there's a show before it. What is this? And I watched it, and I was this is interesting. It's ninjas. Okay, that's different. And I think I got hooked on being able to say oh, this is a show I can watch before Dragon Ball Z, so I can watch Toonami back to back. So I think that's what more than likely got me into it, because I hadn't heard of Naruto before Toonami, and Toonami is kind of how I got into anime to begin with.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that's how I got into it too. I think after the big Toonami, like Dragon Ball Z and then GT and Gundam series, Sailor Moon, Zoids, once they were on repeat, I was trying to find that new show to follow, and I see this number one hyperactive knuckleheaded ninja Naruto Uzumaki, and I really started digging it, and I really started digging the story, and I started watching it religiously. It's split into two parts. Part one's Naruto's preteen years, and the second is his teens. And the preteen part one, I was watching English. I watched every episode in English because that's what was out at the time at my. And then part two, because it was going so slow, I was able to find sites to be able to watch the episodes as they were coming out. But Naruto is the first anime that I read the manga through and through, and that got me into loving reading manga because Naruto's manga was fire.
It was really good. Honestly, ironically enough, I didn't really start reading the manga until I realized the TV episodes were so far behind. There was other stuff out there, and I was oh wait, there's more. I've been watching the reruns of the show, so I didn't know there was more out there.
No, yeah, definitely. And you learned that with Naruto, and just taught me about the other mangas, that the manga is so far ahead of TV shows that it's hard to just sit there and watch reruns all the time when you could just read the weekly thing on Wednesday. So what's Naruto about, Cedric? If you were explaining to someone what Naruto is about, what's the premise of the story?
Oh, I would say so. The gist of it is it's set in the shinobi world with ninjas from different villages. And this particular show is about the story of one particular ninja as they progress from being a teenager into adulthood. And you just follow his growth, his transformation into that. Along the way, you may see like you start to pick up like different lingo, learn different characters, different styles of jutsu, different techniques. But essentially, the focal point of the show, Naruto, is about this boy who was essentially orphaned after his parents died, growing up on his own to become the best ninja in the village, also known as the Hokage.
And this is a show where you saw his Naruto's growth from his preteen to teenage to that pinnacle of being Hokage. So you almost technically see Naruto's entire life show, don't you not?
Yes. So I will say there is Boruto that's out now. People who are familiar with Naruto, that kind of goes into furthering of the story of Naruto as an adult and a father. But most of the point of Naruto and Naruto Shippuden is that growth from preteen, teenager to, I guess, if you count the movies, yes, adulthood.
Okay. No, that is. And then he goes through a whole bunch of trials and tribulations to get to that goal that he wanted to be the strongest in the village, the Hokage. And when you're looking at Naruto, what were the whole thing? What were some things you liked about Naruto, about the show, the manga, how they did things? What did you like about it?
I honestly love the idea of like that there's different villages.
Okay.
Like I will say what really got things interesting for me in Naruto is once you start the tuning exam arc of Naruto, and you're like, hold on, wait a minute. There's other ninjas than just the Leaf Village ninjas. Like you hear about like the hidden mist with Zabuza and Haku, but you mostly think like, oh, the way they like kind of portray it is like, oh, those people are outcasts. So, like these other villages don't have it together. Only the Leaf really has it together. And then you see like, no, other villages have it together. Like the Sand Village is sending like candidates for the tuning exam. I believe the Grass Village as well. Like, and it's not just like big villages, like all types of different villages, small, like the Sound, new, like it's just the fact that there's like, okay, so that means there's more villages and there's more people out there. There's more characters, potentially more jutsu to be seen. This is interesting. I wonder how diverse they will get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the village thing was really cool because I feel like in other mangas you only have one city, town, area that they're there. You don't get to see the rest of the world. In the villages, you see a whole bunch of different villages with different techniques, different looking people, different philosophies and beliefs, and seeing all those come at each other, I think is really, really, really cool as well. And then with the characters, I feel like they have a very diverse group of characters, and you could pick out of a lot of them on who your favorite characters. But Cedric, like who are some of your favorite characters in the Naruto franchise and why?
So my favorite character is Neji Hyuga. Honestly, I enjoyed Neji because he's kind of like my favorite kind of like main character I look for in anime.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who's like understands that what their abilities are, understands that whether they are great or not great, they accept that fact and they still try to strive for what they necessarily want to see happen in the world.
Yeah, no, and Neji at the beginning was a super genius, wasn't he? You know?
Yes. Neji is the same rank as Naruto. He's a Genin at the time when we see him in the show. After you pass the academy and you pass the test, you become a Genin rank ninja, and the ranks go from Genin, Chunin, Jonin, and if you're more successful in the village, you can become part of the Anbu Black Ops, and then essentially you serve the Hokage at that point in time, and then the Hokage is typically the strongest individual in the village. So with Neji being a year older than Naruto, he had an opportunity to take the training exams after he first became a Genin. With the squad makeup, it's normally one Jonin, three Genin that makes up the team. because they believe in 4-man cell groups in all missions. So that's how they start the Guineans out to get them used to that 4-man cell. And Mike Guy was the team leader for Neji's team, and he determined, maybe I should let them wait a year, let them develop further before I introduce them to the training exam, because it may sound like, I know we see like a lot of like other animes like trying to talk about like exams and stuff. Like no one normally dies in those animes, but with the tuning exam in Naruto, like there's nothing against killing your opponent. There is no rule against it. It's whatever you need to do to pass the test, essentially. Like deceit, cheating, any of that is encouraged, because as being a shinobi, you learn you will die at some point. You have to take that out with you on your mission. You could die out there. And so Guy, wanting to develop his group and team to be stronger, to have the best success that they could have, decided to wait a year in allowing them to take tuning exams. And so Neji comes in. He was already like, there's certain like clans, I would say family clans in the villages that posture as far as knowing as being like how long you were in the village, where you're part of the village growth and creation, and you kind of have your own known techniques throughout the village. So when individuals who are strong out of that clan come in to the academy, like the village knows who's the cream of the crop, essentially, coming in. And when you start to progress and you start showing your talent, showing your skill, everyone starts to like pay attention and think like, okay, this person is someone to look out for. This person's strong as well as maybe intelligent. And I believe Neji, for the Hyuga clan, already having the Byakugan, a Kekkei Genkai, was already on a lot of people's radars. And then as he progressed through missions, he is touted and held out to be the strongest individual, like the strongest Genin from the Leaf Village, taking the exam.
And just to put it in perspective, at that point, Neji was stronger than the two main characters of the show, Naruto Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha. And Neji also had a redeeming quality about himself too, because he was one who always thought once it was written in faith, like he couldn't change his own faith, and he realized that he could, right?
So Neji believed that when you're born, you have a destiny that's already established, which is, like you said, fate. Like you can progress towards that destiny, but you cannot change that destiny. So in his mind, he's like, I am strong because I was meant to be strong. However, Neji is also a member of the side branch family, which with the Hyuga clan, they have a main branch and a side branch. The side branch serves the main branch. No one from the side branch can become the head of the clan. They are subservient to the main branch. And there's even a forbidden jutsu placed upon them that if they attempt some type of like oversiege or power, they die instantly. That jutsu will kill them. And so while he's strong, he understands and has to accept in his mind his own fate of, I may be the strongest Hyuga, like most talented Hyuga. I may have the abilities and progress to someone who could be considered a clan leader, but I will never truly be head of the Hyuga clan because I was born into the side branch. And that is my destiny. That is my fate. I cannot break that. And so, of course, as the character and the personality of Naruto is, he's like, well, everyone considers him a loser. Everyone calls him a loser. He's like, no, well, I'm still going to be the Hokage. He, of course, is the antithesis of that mindset of like, well, no, you can definitely change your fate because I'm going to prove it by becoming the Hokage. Watch me change what you all think my fate and destiny is. And of course, that frustrates Neji because it's like, well, this is essentially my being. This is how I've gotten as far as I've gotten.
Yeah, he's fantastic, super skilled. He had a great story. Seeing him rise through the ranks, and you said like he started off as a Gandin, and he became a Jonin by part 2. What other characters were you fond of in the Naruto franchise?
I was also fond of the 8-tailed Cherokee Killer Bee.
Okay.
I enjoyed him because like I enjoy like a lot of the Cloud Village Ninja because I'm African American, and then seeing other African Americans in the show because most times everyone looks either like part Asian or white, and so I was like, dang, it's like I thought that's how it was gonna be. So when I saw Killer Bee, and I was like, oh, there's this black guy as a ninja. I was like, I wonder what he is like, and he cracks me up because he talks in rap and rhyme, and I just enjoy, I guess, like his personality and his charisma as far as he's like, he comes off when you first see him, you think he's a fool and he's kind of like stupid or something, but he's an extremely skilled ninja. Arguably, I would say, arguably one of, if not the strongest, because of the Jinchuriki, the second strongest ninja in his village, next to his adopted brother Rekage. And I don't know, I just enjoy his personality. It's a nice like reprieve from like all the seriousness. I feel like he is one of those types of characters that you'll see in anime. It's like everyone's been like getting down, super serious, and he'll come and kind of like break the ice a little bit with either a joke or something like that.
No, he was really cool as well. I think me first. I mean, my favorite was Kakashi Hatake, the teacher to the Team 7 of Naruto, Sasuke, Uchiha, and Sakura. I don't know. I really just liked his demeanor, and obviously I liked his skill set and the way he handled things. And I also do like those kind of people who Kakashi could look like he's aloof, just chilling, lazy, and then he could be super serious and really just go to work. So he was my personal favorite. And there was a whole bunch of other people on this show as well that I really liked. But from the flip side, what were characters you did not like in the Naruto franchise?
So I'm not the biggest fan of Sakura, Haruno, and that was one that's like it's like a growing thing. Like originally, I didn't really pay much attention to her, but as you get like further into the storyline and Shippuden, and it's like I honestly wonder how she progresses. Like the storyline, I guess, is like kind of predictive, where you see like there's Stunning, the 3 like legendary ninjas from the Leaf Village. Each of them are training one of Team 7's members. Like Sasuke runs away to Orochimaru to gain strength to kill Itachi, his older brother, who he suspects, well, not necessarily suspects, but believes and knows killed his clan, the entire Uchiha clan. And so he trains with Orochimaru to get stronger. Naruto trains with Jiraiya to get strong enough to go after Sasuke. And of course, that left the new Hokage, the 5th Hokage, which was at the time Tsunade, the daughter of the first Hokage, granddaughter of the first Hokage, and you knew Sakura was going to end up being with her. So you knew she was going to be strong, but I guess my frustration is more with her like personality, and I guess I know that like in Naruto she loves Sasuke, and so I wasn't amazed until like Shippuden as I like kept progressing. But I guess with Shippuden, I wanted the treatment of Naruto to be different, and I don't know. It's maybe an unpopular opinion. I feel like she does not treat him much better, except for less physical abuse and outright verbal abuse. It's more emotional abuse kind of treatment that goes on in the show.
Yeah, she was my favorite character out of the whole show. I almost felt like she was a token main female protagonist. I don't think, besides her at the beginning of the show just being so in love with Sasuke and dissing Naruto, to then relying on Naruto to help get Sasuke back, who she was still in love with, then going to part 2 saying she was going to train so that she wouldn't have to rely on Naruto, which was still the case. And even after seeing what Sasuke's become, still being in love with him. And Sasuke has almost killed her 1 or 2 occasions and still being in love with him. I just don't see what she added to the show. I think with her going forward, it showed other anime people that they just can't have some token female lead that just sits and cries for most of it, then randomly gets strong and then it's not strong. That they have to have their female leads do things, especially now in 2020. But yeah, she's my favorite character out of the whole series.
I agree 100%. I mean, that's the thing with Sakura. Like, I'll even go as far as say, like, knowing that Naruto is in love with her as well. And there was a point of the show where she, I guess, attempts to manipulate that to get kind of what she wants out of the situation because she believes that she should be the one that kills Sasuke because she's the one that loves him, doesn't want anyone else to do it. And it ends up backfiring, like you said, in one of those life-threatening moments where he almost straight up killed her had it not been for Naruto. And Kakashi does to kind of stall a little bit as well.
Yeah, even before that, when Naruto, and this, I think this really brought my hate for her out. When Naruto was fighting Pain, if you remember, after Pain blew up the village, she was screaming Naruto's name, and he shows up with the toads, and they start to fight. And then Hinata jumps in, she gets attacked, Naruto goes crazy. Then he gets back to normal with the help of spirit energy, chakra of his dad, and all that jazz. So after Kakashi gets Naruto, brings him back on his back, and he's getting treated by the village, Sakura has the nerve to walk up to him, give him a little gut punch saying he's reckless, and then giving him a hug saying thank you. And me, I'm like, hold on. Hinata was the one who risked her life to save Naruto. That should have been a Naruto Hinata moment, but since you're the main female lead of the show, you got that moment. And that's personally never sat right with me.
Yeah. I was a proponent where as people who watch it, if you don't know, Naruto does end up with Hinata. It is explained in Naruto Last, the movie. I was a proponent of wanting that to be the moment that at least Hinata not necessarily has to take like over as like another female lead protagonist, but at least like we have Naruto acknowledge her feelings because if you watch the movie, he didn't know like, oh, Hinata loved me. I didn't know that. And it's like, yeah, like in Pain, she essentially almost died for you. Like, I would have loved to see like that be the moment to like at least Hinata gets a chance to express her feelings to Naruto. And like I said, I feel like Sakura did take that kind of opportunity and chance away.
Yeah, definitely. And even throughout the fandom, more people like Hinata more than they do Sakura. When Hinata, for being not a supporting character, you saw her start off as a super shy little girl, and then throughout the series, being inspired by Naruto, training, getting better until she's out there fighting herself. So you saw more character development from Hinata, in my opinion, than you saw from Sakura.
Absolutely.
And she was a supporting character, and the fans spoke. I mean, everyone liked Hinata more than Sakura. To this day, I've still not found one person who's watched the entire Naruto say they like Sakura.
I have not met one. I've seen videos defending her, but I've not met someone say like I outrightly love Sakura. I think she's the best. Like,
so with the Naruto anime, as all anime, there's certain power scaling, power levels, things like that. So how does someone determine like what's their system? Obviously, Dragon Ball they have ki and all of that. What's the system in Naruto? What's that called?
So Naruto uses chakra. So
okay,
it's very similar. Which, as you start to like watch, if you watch like Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball Z, and I believe even Bleach, the way they describe this energy source is very similar to each other.
Yeah.
Like chakra is the mixing of your life force and life energy to create jutsu or to do jutsu. And like they say in the show, if you run out of chakra like completely, utterly like zero depletion, you will die. Like, so it's like your life force essentially. And some individuals are born with larger amounts, just like in Dragon Ball Z, where you compare, I believe, Goku and Broly. Some individuals are born with small amounts of chakra. Some individuals are blessed and born with large amounts of chakra. And of course, individuals can grow to amass more chakra over time. And with Naruto, there's also these animals called tailed beasts. and Naruto is classified as a Jinchuriki. So he has one of these tail beasts sealed within him, and these beasts are large animals that have a vast amount of chakra. So already Naruto having that is partial edge, and his father being the fourth Hokage, and his mother being part of the Uzumaki clan, which is known for their massive amounts of chakra and healing nature and properties, just speaks to volumes of how much chakra he has and how much chakra he could amass to gain as he matured.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then with how do they with their moves? Like let's say like a Dragon Ball, you have like a Kamehameha, Gallic gun, or like Yu Yu Hakusho, you have Dragon of the Darkness Flame, Spirit gun. So what's their type of moves? How do they make their type of chakra based moves? Are they using like elements, or how do they make those?
So it's based off ninjutsu. So there are hand weaving signs that have properties towards elemental properties. So there's like certain signs are fire signs, certain signs are water signs, certain signs are earth signs, and certain signs are wind and lightning. And the thing with that's also really interesting about Naruto is an individual's chakra, there's something called chakra nature, which means your affinity towards one of those elements. And if you can have an affinity towards two elements, that's really probably really strong. You can kind of like meet somewhere and mix those elements potentially if you are talented enough. So you'll see those things normally with individuals who have Kekkei Genkai or like a natural born technique that is only passable through the bloodline as far as like certain types of jutsu, certain types of moves and techniques. Most common one you see is like a visual prowess with one of the other main characters, Sasuke Uchiha, which is the Sharingan. The Sharingan itself doesn't have its own property, but the Uchiha clan is known for their fire elements. But Sasuke also has an affinity towards lightning. So that also helps him in being able to make like dark flames or black flames as well, and to change his chakra nature in different moves like Chidori, which was taught to him by Kakashi, and to be able to, I guess, like progress further in learning different techniques. But he can't produce something like the Rasengan, which is mainly a wind technique like Naruto does, until he gets older, where we see in Boruto, he can produce the Rasengan just like Kakashi can. So it doesn't necessarily lock you in 100%, but you have to be a really talented, skilled ninja to be able to jump across your own chakra nature. It's just like it's like a talent type of thing. Like these types of jutsu will come easier to you.
And you brought up the thing Kekkei Genkai. That's a bloodline thing. So only certain bloodlines will have those skills if it's a Kekkei Genkai, right?
Correct. I believe after Sasuke, the first Kekkei Genkai we see is Haku, his ability to use ice mirrors, which is I believe a mixture of wind and water to form ice, and no one can copy that. Like Kakashi is known as a copy ninja when we first are introduced to him. His ability to copy someone's jutsu by watching their hand signs, and because he's so skilled, he can naturally like use whatever chakra nature he sees, but he cannot steal someone's Kekkei Genkai because that's a bloodline trait. So he cannot reproduce Haku's ice mirror style.
Okay, yeah, that sounds super cool. And Naruto is not one of those animes like a Dragon Ball where people are flying and death is not that serious, because Naruto, death's pretty serious. In Naruto, you typically don't come back, right?
Correct. You don't come back as like your own individual person. I mean, there have been a couple of times. There is a forbidden jutsu. It's actually forbidden to bring back someone from the dead in reanimation mode, which the first time we see that is with Orochimaru when he attacks the Leaf Village. He takes DNA from the living being he wants to reanimate and puts it in a dead corpse and then starts to control it with his own chakra. And they come back, depending on how strong that user is, they can come back in their prime. They can come back not so strong. They could come back completely obedient. They may have some resistance, but because Orochimaru is one of the Sannin, he is very proficient at the jutsu that was established by the second Hokage. And so when his reanimations come back, he is also kind of a sadistic character. So he allows them to have their personality and allows them to talk up until a certain point where he's like, okay, now you need to do what I say. And you see like that in the fight with the first, the second, and the third Hokages, where initially they have a conversation like between the three Hokages, because the third learned from the second. It's like, I really hate that this jutsu, this is a despicable jutsu. I hate to have to fight my fellow Hokage to protect the village. And then even then, like Orochimaru's like, that's enough, like reminiscing, and like cuts off their ability to talk, and now they're just strictly obedient to do the moves that he wants them to do.
So if someone was trying to get into Naruto, would you, now with the episodes, would you suggest reading the manga first, then watch the episodes, or watch the episodes and read the manga, or do both? Because Naruto's known to have what people call a lot of filler episodes. So what would be your recommendation if someone wants to get into Naruto right now?
Honestly, I would say watch the anime.
Okay.
First, because when you read the manga, if you're like reading books, I would say read the manga. Like if you're more of a reader, like you can sit down and blow through a book in like 2 or 3 days, you'll blow through Naruto really fast. Honestly, the reason I would say that watch the anime first is while there are fillers, I will say the first session or part of Naruto, the fillers aren't really that great, but they do at least a decent job with some of the fillers of tying into like reasons behind some of the things that happen in the actual manga and anime. And they at least like give you some perspective. Like sometimes some characters maybe like slightly mentioned, or some things maybe like slightly referenced. It doesn't really like overall push the theme. But normally the fillers for me in like Naruto are always like something comedic. So it's like a good break from like, say you had like a big fight to the death or something that happened, or someone came very close to dying and they're super hurt. And we're gonna have a comedy like episode, kind of like just like, okay, well, I'll take a deep breath, relax, laugh, and then we'll get right back heading towards like the next arc and the next like mission, essentially moving forward. With manga, it's just nonstop going. I also am a fan of like animation, as far as I think like the individuals who create the manga, the artists that make the manga are extremely talented. And to take something that's already amazing and very like visually present, because I will say it's more so than like comics. As you know, if you've listened to our first episode, there's a lot of stuff that can be described. Like you can see like dark intentions, like individuals like losing their mind type of thing. Like they like by like just the darkened shading and stuff like that from black and white is a very intense thing to look at. But for me, it was always like, well, now I wonder what that's going to look like animated, like with colors and everything like that. So I think if you end up reading the manga, you'll eventually end up watching the anime, because you'll have a natural curiosity of like, well, I wonder how they're going to show this happen. Like one of my favorite things was when Madara came back, and like reading the manga, you see him fighting all the shinobis, a part of the Unified Shinobi Force, and I'm like wondering like, this looks amazing. I can't wait till they turn this into animation. And that's one of my hands-on like favorite animated like fight scenes of one person versus a massive group of people. You see him flying from left to right, cutting people up, like just not being subdued at all. So me personally, I'm more of a visual person. Like I like to see animation. I also like to see like the hints of colorings, stuff like that, because like when you create manga, there's an like you have an idea and a vision of what it's going to be and what it's going to look like. So I believe like you have an idea of like the animation, but like the animation could really be a big like, I guess like the exclamation mark on what the manga intends. Though I won't sit here and say like there's not the flip side of it where you may be underwhelmed a bit. Like you may think like, oh, I really wish they would have done more with this partial scene. But for me, it's like I always look for like, I guess, them to expound upon an already amazing piece of art.
And then if you're watching an anime, you're watching it, would you recommend people watching the dubbed version of Naruto, or would you prefer? Would you recommend someone watching the sub version of Naruto?
Honestly, I personally like watching dub just because I enjoy the subtitle, and I know that's like the initial release was made that way.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if it's your first time, if you're not like a avid anime watcher, like you're not someone that's gonna be like looking at like new anime that comes out typically only in sub until they make a dub of it, and you'll probably want to watch English dub just because it has that option. Like, I mean, the later seasons don't; they're still not dubbed yet, but those are like in Shippuden. Like, you have a long ways to get to that portion. Like, eventually you'll have to read the subtitles, but I honestly think the dub does a good job in comparison to the subtitles because I've watched it sub and dub, and I think they do a good job of, I guess, like getting as close to the same translation as it is. Like, so if you're not someone that likes to like read and watch, because there are people like that, I'll say because it gives you the option, watch the dub. Like, they do a good job dubbing it.
Gotcha. And Cedric, anything else about Naruto for like a first time person who wants to get into it? Things like that should know about it before they get into it.
You will be frustrated with the at the initial beginning, and I will say it won't really start to turn around as much with this as the power scaling, because you'll see Kakashi do a whole bunch of sweet things, and you'll see Naruto, because Naruto can be annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Like, when I first started watching, I was like, man, this guy just keeps running his mouth and he can't win. Like, why is he running his mouth and he can't win?
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, you'll start to see like more and more interesting characters who are like strong, but not like Kakashi strong, not like Mike Guy talented, stuff like that. Like, you start to try to like like any show, you try to like compare the power scale, like to say like who's the strongest, who's the weakest, where is Naruto in this grand scheme of things, where are his classmates? Like, you start to try to compare them all, and I will say it's frustrating at the beginning because they're all new. Like imagine like you're 13 years old and told to fight potentially anyone from the age of 13 to 40 who is still in their prime essentially as a ninja, and you have to carry out missions because it's by rank, not necessarily by age where you sit. So that can be frustrating at first. I believe it's not until like the tuning exam that I actually like started like getting a little bit excited with the other characters, because it's like, okay, now we get to see like one-on-one, because we've heard that this person's a loser, this person say they're a loser, but let's see what they can do against that type of situation. And even in the grand scheme of things, like once you start to see like the way Orochimaru just essentially like bosses out the village, and the things like that happen in the show where you're like, okay, someone's getting, like, you can see them grow in strength. You start to get a little bit excited. I think that's what will really hook you in.
Yeah, so just you got to be patient with a show like Naruto, right?
Yeah, definitely, because there'll be good fight scenes. Like, you'll have good fight scenes at the beginning, and I will say, like, if you enjoy those fight scenes at the beginning, once you start to get like the Shippuden, or once you start getting like the training exams, and even further out past that, when you have the Sasuke retrieval missions and stuff like that, you'll start to really get excited when you're like, wow, it just keeps getting better and better and better. Like, and it's because they keep getting stronger and stronger.
Anything else you want to tell the listeners about Naruto before we sign off on here today?
I gotta say this one time: when you finish the show, because I'm always intrigued, and I know me and you have talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
When you finish it, if you can let us know what you think about the Uchiha clan itself, because a lot of, well, and I won't go too far into my own thing because that's its own thing. It's just for the viewers, not necessarily me. I find a lot of individuals become really, I guess, like enamored with the Uchiha clan because they're strong jutsu users. So, and whenever we play, like, especially when we play like strikers, we always see someone Uchiha, this Uchiha, that Uchiha. And I don't know, like when I watch, I just never really, like, I got why people like them, but I never really not like it'd be like this massive when it's like there's so many other ninja out there, and I guess you could essentially be whoever you want, like in that game, and you can like a lot of different characters in that game because a lot of different characters have great development in the show. So I guess the one thing I would say, if you watch it, let us know who your favorite character is, why you like them, and hopefully we can recommend other anime that have like similar styles or types that you may enjoy.
Yeah, agreed. And also with Naruto going into 2021, I don't know, for the listeners out there who listen to the end of your podcast where you had all of us honest, we were talking about there's some things coming in 2021, and Naruto is one of them. We're going to be opening, I think we're going to do once a month. We're going to be doing what if battles, podcast episodes on pairing two random Naruto characters, and if they fought each other, who would win, or team battles. And our producer, Justin Agnew, is actually very excited about that because he's going to be wanting to hop on episodes like that as well. So look out for those. We're going to figure out what our first one is. It might be at the end of January, early February, and we're going to go from there because there's a lot of strong characters in Naruto.
Almost definitely.
And that's one of the things that I like that over, let's say, a Dragon Ball, because Dragon Ball, there was a lot of good, strong characters, but then it really it was Goku and Vegeta so far ahead of everybody that it was just them and everyone else was useless. And in Naruto, there are so many strong characters that if they matched up with different strong characters, would lose to this one, win to this one. So we're going to be starting that going forward. Justin, also the producer here, he wants us to do top 10 Naruto battles.
Oh, man.
So he wants us to get that going. So Naruto is going to be one of those new things that we're going to be implementing at least once a month on the L7C podcast. And I know we've talked about situations, and I've talked with Justin about it, and we're going to have all of us on there and get Byron in there too, because he was one of our friends, our most recent person who finished Naruto that we recommended it to him. So he's all caught up, and we're going to get that going in 2020. And hopefully we get this first what if battle. We're trying to figure out how we're going to pick them, if we're just going to pick them out of a hat or a random randomized thing, but we're coming for it, and it's going to be real fun to do.
Yeah, so be on the lookout. I mean, if you have suggested people, if you've watched Naruto and you have like some interest to see what if battles that you didn't get to see in the show that you really would have wished had happened, let us know. I mean, that's always a possible scenario we can do.
And with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to L7C podcast. Thank you, Cedric, for taking time on your birthday to do this Naruto episode. I know it's a show that both you and I really enjoy, and most of the L7s, Byron, Justin as well. So thank you for being on. Thank you guys for all the support. 2021's we'll have our first full years of podcast, so we can't wait to grow and come about these episodes and provide good content for you guys.
Oh yeah. And thanks guys. Again, sorry for the 1 moment pause. I got a call from Patrick, and it's making me mute. No, like it made me mute my mic as like declined the call, and I was like, I was muted. I was like, I didn't even notice. So I do apologize for that, but thanks again for having me on. It was great. As you know, I love Naruto stuff. There's no problem at all.
Yeah, and can't wait till Justin's editing. He hears that Patrick in the middle of it. Gonna keep that band going.
I mean, he did not help himself with that.
Well, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. You guys take care.
Take it easy.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.